All right. Welcome back to the Talking Mess channel. This is a new series I got going on here. It's a solo cast, and this is episode 1. And today I'm lucky enough to be sitting with the big boss man, the CEO. Most of you probably don't know Shy Cole with me right now. He is the owner, CEO of Lion's Eye, um, football player, entrepreneur, man
Wow.
wears many hats. Right now, he's got on the best hat, that Lion's Eye hat, and
Yes, sir.
a good friend of mine as well. So today we're gonna chop it up with him and talk about all the endeavors he has with his company. And I'm excited to do this. So welcome to the show, Shy. Thanks for coming on,
Thank you.
bro.
Thank you. I appreciate the introduction. We've been trying to get this going for a while, and I'm definitely excited to, let everyone know what we have in store for the brand. Let you guys know how it started. So I'm ready to get to it.
All right, all right. So like first, we're just gonna keep this chill. Everybody knows on channel this is real. I kind of shoot from the hip. That's what we're doing today. Um, like where are your beginnings? Like where are you from? Like what was the beginning for Shy?
So I'm from Boston. I was born in Texas. Texas. I moved when I was 3. So technically, I guess you say I'm a Bostonian. Um, so I've always, so it's funny because I started Lions Eye just from obviously working out, but the thing about it is I actually just started working out during the pandemic.
Yeah.
A lot of people, find that crazy, but I've always loved working out. I've always loved bodybuilding. I've always enjoyed watching it. I would definitely say I love the process of changing your body and changing your mind more than the actual result. And I think that's one reason why, I decided to, start a brand like Lion's Eye.
Yeah. Um, I know we obviously talk all the time off this. Um, you have a sports background. Did the sports background did that lay like the groundwork for like the whole fitness thing and everything like that?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'm a diehard football fan. In high school, I played football. I did track, high hurdles, 100-yard high hurdles.
Oh
Uh,
shit.
yeah, I did that. I played basketball, but not for a team. I actually got cut my junior year. But the reason why I got cut is because I remember I was so pissed. I remember I tried out and whatever. I went to school the next day and I didn't make the list. And the coach pulled me aside. He's like, "Look, the only reason why you got cut is because you didn't try out your freshman or sophomore year." He goes, "We got people who played freshman and sophomore year, so it wouldn't look right if you take their position." So I'm like, "Okay, I respect that." You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um,
but that's crazy to me though, because like real talk, if I'm a coach and
yeah,
somebody shows up to tryouts and they're busting everybody else's ass, I
yeah,
will be like, hey, somebody else got to get up from the table because he's about to eat,
yeah,
you know?
absolutely. And that's the thing. Like I grown up playing pickup basketball every single day. So I went to Mecco. So obviously, I'm not sure if you know what Mecca. Are you familiar with what Mecca is? So
Nah.
Mecca program where like in city kids go to school far out, like in suburbs to get a better education. So I was waking up at 5 a.m. taking the MBT two MBTA buses to my school bus. Then it would take me like 2 hours to get to school. I went to high school in Linfield.
Okay.
Um, and obviously around like 5 o'clock, we would have practice. Practice would be over around like 7. I wouldn't get home until like 10 o'clock. So I definitely had long days. And looking back at like, damn, I can't wait until I graduate. But it's funny because like, if I could like give you like a highlight moment of my life, I would definitely say high school. And the reason
Yeah.
why I say that is because like high school football is different. That's when I like learned what brotherhood is. And I mean, anyone who played college football knows that high school football and college sports and high school sports are just different in general.
Different.
I mean, you could definitely, create the same bond with certain individuals, but it's never going to be the same.
Mhm.
That's because at the end of the day, everyone has a different goal in college. Everyone does in high school too, but the whole school wants to win. You got pep rallies, you got, wear your jerseys to school on Friday. It's just It's everything. And you know me, see, I got the Friday Night Lights.
Yeah, yeah.
Movie miles. So it's just like those Friday Night Lights just hit different. I know you play football too, right?
No, so I actually played basketball, and but I know what you're saying because like I was because I played college basketball too, and I played prep school basketball after high school. You know, my best memories of basketball are probably like high school and AAU, right? Because you're traveling with your boys, you're playing
Uh,
all the time, and that creates that bond. And you're right. Once you get to prep school, once you get to college, I mean, prep school is just a year that like
mm-hmm.
you're just trying to be a dog. You don't fucking care really if you're winning. I was just trying to put points up and have colleges look at me. And then
Yeah,
when you get to college, you're just like fighting for a spot, depending on, how good you are, what level you play at. And I definitely felt like I didn't love college basketball the way I love basketball prior. I don't know if it was the same way. Like, I don't get me wrong, I loved playing basketball at any
yeah,
level, but
absolutely.
it was just different in college.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I definitely know the feeling. Definitely know the feeling.
Yeah. So fast forward, we football's kind of done, track's kind of done. You're in the fitness space. A lot of people don't know you actually competed yourself as
Yeah.
well.
So I can give you a little background on how I, actually got into fitness. It's actually a cool story. Um, so before I actually got into fitness, I was actually a nightclub promoter in Boston. Um, I was it was definitely a lifestyle that during the moment when I was doing, I'm like, oh, I can see myself doing this forever. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of partying. You know what I mean? And in high school, I didn't drink once. I didn't smoke once. I didn't have my first drink till I was 21. And when I
Oh
tell people
shit.
that, they think that
That's
crazy.
crazy.
So when I was 21, I let loose. I mean, I'm pretty sure if I drank before I was 21, I probably would have gotten into the nightlife. You know what I mean? But it was so freshly new to me, and that was the time I was going out because when I was going out to the club like promoting, all my other pairs who were around the same age, my boys, they were going to college parties. You know what I mean? So, um, I was promoting from 2017 to 2019, 2 years, I believe so. And then the pandemic hit.
Hmm.
Um, right before the pandemic hit, the nightclub life kind of got boring to me. I just felt like I was just, wasting my time. I was blowing money, I didn't have, just trying to keep up a lifestyle that was very not tough to keep up, but you know how it is. When you're spending money on bottles,
Yeah.
you're buying tape. It's a lot. It's a lot. You know what I mean? You're waking up like hungover every night. It's one of those things you tell yourself, "Oh man, I'm never gonna do it again." But guess what? Next Friday we did it again. you
Yeah.
know. So after that ended, one of my best friends, he went to the army. My boy Jared, he's like a brother to me. We were roommates at the time. My other best friend, he ended up moving to Florida. And my other best friend, he ended up moving to LA. So it was just me here. Around that time, I kind of like, I wouldn't say it's because like they left, but I started kind of getting a little depressed. Because I just felt like, I was only getting older, and when you're in your 20s, you're still figuring a lot out. Like you're still figuring a lot of shit out.
Yeah.
So I was definitely, getting depressed. I was depressed for probably a good 6, 7 months. Just when I say depressed, I mean just sluggish, no motivation. I wasn't going out. I stopped the whole nightlife. I just tried. I ended up working like 2, 3 jobs. I was working at like Target, GNC,
Yeah.
um, I was working at a grocery store at the time. So I was like working 3 jobs. And then one day I went to the barber shop, and then I was getting a haircut. There was this big dude in the chair. I tell people this all the time. There was this big dude in the chair, and he looked at me. He was like, "You ever like think about competing?" I don't know what made him ask me that. I don't know if it was my frame or what. But around that time, I started self coaching myself. That's when I started getting to working out because I was always watching like bodybuilding videos, like Ronnie Coleman. Like my favorite of all time is Dorian Yates. Love Dorian
Yeah.
Yates. But I never really like dove too deep into it. I would just watch it, and I would go to the gym This is when I was doing fasting. I didn't know too much about the nutrition. I just, I did like the low keto. I was trying different things and it worked for me. I was,
Mm-hmm.
I would say right around that time, that's kind of when I got out of my depression. And like, I started loving it, loving it. So that week I went to the barbershop. He goes, "Hey, if you ever think about competing, here's my card. Let me know what you think." And it's funny because the day before that, I forgot what I was doing, but I don't. I think I was following someone, and they just did a show, and I was saying to myself, I kind of want to compete. And it's just ironically how the next day when I was in a barbershop, he said that to me.
Yes, it's
Um,
meant to be.
Meant to be, bro. And like I said, I didn't know anything about bodybuilding. All I knew was, I was basically, I don't want to say starving myself, but fasting is very
Yeah.
tricky. I definitely wasn't building muscle, but I was losing, I was losing weight. You know what I mean? I believe I was doing the 16-8 method. So I would basically like skip breakfast in the morning, and then like at lunch I would eat a big meal. Um, so I end up going home. Right when I went home, I hit him up. I'm like, yo, I'm ready to, compete. I want to do this. Like I feel like this is what I need to, you know, to find something to fall in love with. But then again, it goes back to football, right? I said to myself, I'm like, okay, I haven't really had anything that I fell in love with in so long since high school football, right?
Yeah.
Um, and whatever, I end up signing up with him, and next thing you know, 3 weeks later, there's a lockdown.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Crazy.
So here's the thing. I tell people this all the time, and obviously, I want to be careful how I approach it because I understand that was a serious time for a lot of people, and it was a serious time for myself as well. But on my personal experience, I would say the lockdown is the best thing that ever happened to me.
Facts. Me too, bro.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, like looking back, like even like if I'm like having a tough time on like like diet or whatever it is, I always look back and be like, bro, like you got into bodybuilding in a time where most people would have folded.
Yeah.
When I was in a lockdown, like I don't know what it was. Like obviously there were no gyms open. Um, at the time I was living with my G mom, my grandmother. I would follow my meal plan, and at the time, it was so hard to get weights, dumbbells. I went
Yeah.
to Walmart. I got like a little. If you go on my old Instagram, you'll be able to see like I was doing like in-house workouts with weighted vests. Um, he had me doing like a whole bunch of cardio. I was like going on runs around the neighborhood. I was really putting in work. And looking back, it's just like it's just something that I never thought that I would be able to do. And the reason why I say that is because I didn't know anything about working out. You know what I mean? But just being able to maintain the nutrition during the hardest time of all of our lives just tells me that like you anyone could do anything. It's just all about how you do it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
for sure. For sure. And so then one thing I really didn't know is like when Lions Eye started. When we got on the phone call earlier about the plans for this year, I was actually surprised to hear that like Lions Eye you had had in the making like a couple years before anything really ever happened.
yeah. So I've actually been working on Lion's Eye for a good 6 years, but off and on. It's always been one of those things that I've always had the vision in my head. Like before Lion's Eye, the name was called Eat, EAT. I used to have a slogan and it used to be like let's eat. And eat stood for effort, activate, and trust. Right?
Mm.
Basically saying like effort, all you gotta do is just show effort, and effort is what's gonna get you noticed. Activate, you gotta activate the mindset to become the best version of yourself. And trust, you already know that trust the process.
Yes, sir.
Let's
Yeah.
eat. So before Lines Out, it was eat.
Yeah, that goes hard. I can't lie.
Who knows? Maybe we'll throw out a collection or something like that.
Yeah.
But it was off and on. But during the moments I had the motivation to do it, I would always have a note about okay, in my phone I have notes on what do I want to do for a brand, right? It could be anything, And as time went along, I just kept adding to the note. So I got a whole blueprint, at least with like 5, 6 pages full of notes.
That's what's up.
Mhm.
Yeah, and okay, so when you brought me onto Lion's Eye, that was your first year really like making like your first push. Uh,
Yes, absolutely. So we just launched. I believe we launched Lion's Eye last November. I think. I believe it was around last November, if I'm not mistaken. I might have to double check, but it was
yeah,
around.
so November, what was it? November 24th?
It was. When was your show? Was your show last? Um,
My show was August 25, but I had come to Rhode Island to do your first
yes.
booth.
Okay. So we launched Lion's Eye probably about 6 months before the Rhode Island show last year.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, we launched it. Yep, around that time. And honestly, like as far as like the Rhode Island show, like the first, like I told you, I know we just had a meeting not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago. When I first, I said to Ava, my wife, I'm like, look, I know the first collection isn't gonna do good, because that, like, we always have self doubt, but at the same time, you don't want to put a product out and be upset that it's not the expectation that you was hoping it to be. You know what I mean? So we did our first collection, and I'm going to tell you, like, what really made me sit there. I remember this exact moment. What made me sit there and say, "This shit is really mine." Like, I got this in my hands. Is our first collection shoot, right? Everyone was wearing Lion's Eye. We had the music bumping. We had the camera guy, the photographer, and I'm looking around. And you know how like sometimes you just have those moments, and
Yeah,
you're wow, this is really mine. Because Ava walked over to me and she was like, "Why you sitting in the corner?" I'm like, I'm just shocked. Like, I'm shocked that like I'm here right now to, get this to get people feel to get people feel comfortable in what they're wearing. You
mhm,
know, like, looking around, everyone was just so happy. Everyone was talking. And what really got to me is in the way the energy was in that room. Most people, I would say, and you know how it is to be, an athlete, like would never get that experience. And the reason why I say that is you got these big companies like Gymshark, Dog Sport. People don't understand how extremely hard and tough it is to, you know, get a sponsorship. You
yeah,
know what I mean? People don't
facts.
understand, and even when we do photo shoots or I hit you up for advice about something that we're releasing. It's like that's a feeling that feels so good because some people work their ass off, get to the Olympia, and they still don't got sponsorships.
That's a fact, bro.
You know what I mean? And I remember Justin was telling me, it was just I think it was Justin. I remember he told me a while back. He's like, I like how you're getting guys that aren't, big names. You're getting like a lot of the local guys. And it's because like, I know what it is to be a bodybuilder. I know how this could be a taxing, expensive sport. To train so hard in the off season just to get 10 seconds on stage, right? All right,
Mhm.
goes over, you go home, everyone forgot about you, right? But guess what? The family of Lions, I didn't forget about you. And that's one reason why I like what I'm building with all these athletes, like with you guys, is I want everyone to feel appreciated. Because I know this isn't, a cheap sport. I know all that stuff. So it's just like sometimes in life, all it takes is just one person to believe in you, or someone on the team to message you and be like, "Good shit, Michael," or even like me and Ava, we showed up to your show in Texas.
Yeah,
Sometimes all you need. I remember like I said to Ava, I'm like, "Yo, I know a good dude when I see him, bro. Like we're going to Texas to see Ava. No questions asked. We booked the ticket and we was there, bro. You know
one
what I mean?"
thing one thing I was gonna say is like what drew me to Lion's Eye so much. First off, like you said, bro, we talk about on the podcast all the time. most bodybuilders never gonna get a sponsorship. It doesn't happen anymore. It's not a thing unless you're top 10 at the Olympia. You probably not getting a sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
So when you reached out to me, I said, okay, hold up, like this guy's reaching out to me. Let me check the page. This company, like, and I knew Nate, right? Nate
Yeah,
Spear. I messaged Nate and I was like, Nate, just kind of like, what's up with this? Is
yeah,
this what's going on here? And Nate had nothing but good things to say. He's like, yeah, dude, he's legit. Like, this is legit. And then, we spoke back and forth a bit. And I'm hesitant, right? Like
yeah,
I'm just
yeah, yeah,
hesitant
yeah.
with
Absolutely,
people in
absolutely.
general, like so I kind of I'll be honest, I was kind of like, all right, bro, like these are my terms. Like I'm like, I don't really know him, right? But
Yeah,
then
yeah,
when we showed up at Rhode Island, because I've always just wanted to be a part of something. I've always wanted to just grow something. That's like I
absolutely,
love that shit.
absolutely.
Um and when we showed up there and like I dapped you up for the first time, I remember I was like talking shit. I was like, oh, like, nah, dude, like he's like me.
Yeah.
Like he has a vision to build something
Mm-hmm.
and something that like represents, and I don't want to say just New England or here,
Yeah.
right? Because
Mm-hmm.
like Hind's eyes, the plant, it's going to be, it's everywhere, but like
Absolutely.
a guy that's local, like that wants to actually do something
Mm-hmm.
and like is willing to take a chance on somebody like me who really is like just a regular pro. Like I have aspirations to be bigger, but like, I ain't really shit yet. And he believes in me, like, and he's a good person and his wife's a good person. And like, all right, bro, I'm in. Like, I'm
Yeah.
fucking in. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And then the first photo shoot I did, exactly like you said, right? Like the photo shoots are family. Like that's the best way I can explain it. Like
Absolutely.
some athletes have come and gone, but like we know the core. We know the core good people in Lion's Eye. When we did this last shoot,
Mhm.
that shit was the most fun shit ever. Like
Yeah. Yeah. You train with Justin now, right? That
it
was.
would just like, yo, this is what a company's supposed to be about. And I just really hope that people can understand this isn't some fly by night company that's not
Yeah.
going to be around, or a company that's just trying to make a dollar. This is a company that's trying to give you a product in a community and a vibe of like, we are here, like we want you to be part of it. Like when you put on a Lion's Eye shirt, bro, this is not like that we want you to feel part of something. And I feel like Lion's Eye really makes you feel part of something. And that's one of the things that make it real special. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing. Like I tell when I have a process of how I reach out to athletes and try to pitch them an idea to join a team. And when I first started the company, I'm not gonna sit here and sugarcoat anything. It was fucking hard. It was hard reaching out to athletes because I had nothing to show for. I had some people who left me on red. I had some people who said I'll get back to you, never reached out. Some people just giving, some people even saying, um, I'll keep you in mind. I just want to see you release more things, right? But that didn't stop me. That didn't stop me because I know in the back of my mind that the people that left me on red or tell me to get back to me, my backup. And I'm a competitive person. I'm a my favorite basketball. One of my favorite sports plays is Kobe. I'm a very fucking competitive person. Um, it was okay. I'll show them. It's what I mean. Like not nothing against them. It's just I needed that. I needed the rejection because let's be real. We all fucking hate rejection. We all hate this shit.
for
You
sure.
know what I mean? But I needed it.
Yeah.
So I took a different approach. So when I first started this company, technically it really wasn't supposed to be a bodybuilding company, and it still really isn't. But with me knowing the people that I do and the way I was, signing athletes, I noticed my engagement started getting more and more attention from the bodybuilding community. Um, like I remember, like, Alan, he told me one time in the gym. This is when at the time I had nothing to show for. All I kept posting was welcome so and so to your team. Welcome, he goes to me, he goes, I'm not sure what you're doing, but the way you're doing it, it's good because no one knows what to expect. You're just
Mhm.
welcoming all these athletes out of nowhere. You know what I mean? And that was my plan. I was building up momentum. You know what I mean? So that way, when we do that first shoot, people would be like, damn, they're serious. Because the number one thing that I notice when people start clothing brands is anyone could start a clothing brand, right? Number one thing that I see people do and they fail at is they'll come out with the basic stuff of just like a t-shirt, right? Well, guess what? Anyone could go buy a t-shirt. You know what I mean? So that's one reason why I said to myself, I'm like, okay, my first collection, I don't want a t-shirt because people are gonna think this is a get rich quick scheme. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I want to come out with yoga pants. I want to come out with a whole set. I want to come out with sweatpants, hoodies. I want to do the whole nine because I want people to know I'm not playing. You know what I mean? Um, so that was one thing I had in my mind. Another thing that, you know, and when you start a company, there's a lot of things. I'm a very big believer in that, you know, life is about sacrifice. You know what I mean? Sacrificing things for the better, right? I told some of my boys, I'm like, when I start this company, I don't want you to take anything personal about, me not making you an athlete. I'm like, the only reason why I'm not gonna make you an athlete is because if I make you an athlete on my team, people are gonna think you're only supporting me because you're my boy, and people aren't gonna take the company serious, right? So I have boys who I don't know if they feel the type of way about me, but it's all love. Like it's for the better. And then, when I get the company where it needs to be, they're gonna eat too. I'm gonna spin back around and pick you up on the ship. You know what I mean? But I need you to, understand what I'm trying to build. And you know what it is. Like, let's just say you start a company and you got 10 of your boys wearing your stuff, which is fine, right? But those are the only 10 wearing it.
Yeah.
People are gonna think, oh, they're only wearing it to support him. Meanwhile, I got Nate Spear, who I don't really know that well at the time. I got another person I don't really know at the time, but people know these people from being, a big name in the bodybuilding industry. Like, oh shit, this kid's serious. Like, you know what I mean? So when I first started the company, there were some things that I had to, address right away. But just like anything, like you lose friends, you gain friends. But that's just the way the game goes.
Facts. Um, yeah, like I think it's interesting that you said when you initially thought of it, it wasn't supposed to be a bodybuilding brand. And
Hmm.
I don't want to like necessarily like give too much away about the future, but for those who just like don't only want bodybuilding clothing, just hang tight. I promise you, like
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we close friends yesterday. What I was, yeah, you know what I mean. So, um, and that's the thing. Like the bodybuilding community needs love. Because I'm gonna say something right now. Like I just feel like as a whole, like there's so many influencers, like which is fine, but I'm really trying to bring back that golden era.
mm,
Like if I could think of a brand that is kind of similar to like the golden era, I would say Gasp a little bit. And this isn't, to throw shade at Dark Sport or anything. Because I used to always wear Dark Sport. That's
mhm.
one of the things that pushed me to make lines out because I got to the point where I'm like, bro, I'm tired of spending fucking $70 for a t-shirt. Buy a t-shirt the next day. Some other dude got the same t-shirt on at the gym, and he's not working as hard as me. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I mean? I'm okay, like, okay, I gotta like create my own shit. But I just want this to be really just like I want people like you said earlier, bro. I want you to be able to put that shirt on and be like, damn, like this shit fit me right. I understand what the true meaning behind lines eye is. I understand that, You know, all the athletes all get it out the mud. They got Michael, they got Shay, they got Adidas, they got everyone. You know what I mean? I want people to feel that, and that's why when I get these athletes, I tell people all. I get a lot of DMs of people asking like, you know, how do they become an athlete? And like, first thing I tell them is like, look, I don't care about the numbers. I don't care about the numbers. What I really care about is what kind of person are you outside of bodybuilding?
Mhm.
You know, are you a good family person? Are you, you know, are you always willing to give advice to help others grow? Because it goes back to the brand, like your teammates, you know, because when it's all said and done, when you can't compete no more and you're just sitting there, you know, looking at your trophies and everything, what are you gonna do to, you know, keep the train rolling? Because the train never stops. You know, I tell people all the time, the day the train stops is the day you take your last breath.
Facts.
And that's the way, you know, like I said, I just lost a close family member, you know, and you know me, I was distant for a while, you know, but I'm back. And sometimes, you know, in life we have to go through these things to realize, you know, what we have. You know what I mean? And realize that, you know, everything happens for a reason. And you know, we're really here to create a legacy, you know, pass it down in generations to say, you know, damn, Shy, he was a good one. You know, he developed this whole brand. He did, you know, he took care of the people, and you know, he definitely showed love to the bodybuilding industry, and that's all I really want, man. Like you said earlier, like, um, you know, some people come on a team, some people leave, but me, I welcome, you know, if you're a hard worker, if you have goals and inspirations, you know, I'm always willing to, you know, look at you. It's not about numbers, it's not about followers, it's not about accolades, because you know right away, Michael, I have people on a team who's never even won a show.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
you know,
And I think the term "get out the mud" is perfect because everybody who is here is trying to do just that, right?
yeah, absolutely.
Nobody is has an ego. There's no quote unquote superstar. You know what I mean? You didn't sign the face of the brand. You know what I mean? Like you didn't go get that. You brought in people who are trying to be something.
Absolutely.
And I feel like that's the backbone of the companies. Like like when somebody's just trying to like push through and just make it like I feel like this is that company, the like new kid on the block that's about to prove something. Uh,
Absolutely. 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 And that's the main objective of this company. And I tell people all the time, like, I don't care if you're a pro. I don't care if, you know, you're amateur, you know, like it's all about how hard you work. You know what I mean? Because after you get that pro card, what are you gonna do? The
yeah,
sun's still the sun's still gonna shine tomorrow. You know what I mean? And one thing I tell people all the time, like, is like when you get your pro card, is I mean, you know, that's a huge accomplishment. That's like for most people, that's like going to the NFL.
yeah,
You know, that's like going like I know when you got your first pro card, you felt like damn, like I work. You know what I mean? I know that's a feeling that you're never going to be able to unfeel again because it's a strong feeling, but you still remain the same person you was before to get that pro card. You're not going to change up
I
because you
tell
understand.
I tell everybody, guess what? When I got back from Jersey, I went to work the next day on Monday.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, exactly. And the thing about it, Michael, is I tell people all the time, like, yeah, you got your pro card, but guess what? You're gonna go to work the next day, and half of those people don't even know what a pro is.
It doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, so are you willing to, you know, change your ego to go to work the next day and not people realize what you just accomplished? Yes, people in the bodybuilding community understands it, but the regular everyday person is just gonna look at you like you have five heads.
Yeah.
You know, so when you become a pro, and this goes for anyone, like, you know, it's not worth changing who you was before. Remain the same person you was to get that pro card, and I guarantee you, you're gonna go far in life. You know what
That's
I
a
mean?
fact.
Guarantee you. You know what I mean? That's just like Kobe, you know, like when Kobe said, even when Kobe got his first ring, he wasn't satisfied. He didn't change. He still loved the process. He still was a good person. You know what I mean? So,
That's facts. That's facts. So what we got in I know you can't give everything away, but what do you, what do we have in store for 2026?
2026, we have a lot in store. I'm looking at more collections. 2026, I want to drop at least 6 to 7 collections. I believe we went over this last time. We're gonna add some colorways in the collections, more athletes, more heavy hitters, and I
And
definitely.
we're I believe I don't know if I say this. If I can't, I'll cut it out. But we're gonna have a presence at Rhode Island and hopefully at Universe.
So I say that one more time.
I said we're gonna have a presence at Rhode Island. Obviously, people
Oh,
know that. But
yeah,
I know we were talking about possibly a presence, maybe not necessarily a booth, but at least a presence at Universe as well this year.
yeah, yeah, hell yeah. That's something I would love to do. Like, I want to be honest, that would be a dream. And
Yeah.
I like with everyone on the team, that would be something that they would be willing to help with. So I would definitely love to do that. And I think we talked about the New York Pro too.
Yes. Yeah. In New York Pro. Yes. Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how that stuff works with the booths and all that. But I mean, I definitely want to do more booths. You know, even if we're just going there decked out in lion's eye, I just want to get our name out there because that's opportunity just to get the brand out there. You know,
Fact.
just not social media. Just like I said, like you said when you first met me, you was like, "Oh yeah, this is the guy." You know what I mean? Um, just by people talking to us, chatting with us, it's good for people to know, like, we're gonna be making some noise. Um, what else do I have in store for 2026? We're gonna do black. Oh, we're gonna do a big Black Friday, something huge on Black Friday.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, we have a lot. We have a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
There's a lot. There's just to let people know there's some stuff that we can't necessarily talk about yet,
yeah,
but I'm excited as hell.
it's gonna be a lot. It's definitely going to be something that last year, there was a lot of room for errors. Whenever it's the first year, it's always trial and error. You know what I mean? But this year, like, I'm going hard. Like, we're all going hard. There's gonna be more content. There's gonna be more raw content. I definitely want to take that Florida trip and do a vlog like we talked about. Like start the YouTube up. I know for a while I was consistent with doing the workout vlogs on YouTube. We're gonna get back to that soon. But it's gonna be good, bro. This is gonna be more than just a clothing brand. I want people to understand this. This is gonna be something that, if you're eating your morning breakfast, turn on YouTube and watch Lion's Eye. I want
Yeah.
this. I know the feeling of, I used to, when I first got into bodybuilding, who did I used to watch? Um, you're gonna laugh probably. There was a guy I used to, how like when you're eating your breakfast, you like to get comfortable and like put something on YouTube.
Yeah.
Um, Greg Doucette,
Greg
Doucette.
Doucette? Yeah, yeah,
That's when I first got into bodybuilding.
yeah,
I used to turn shit on, be like, okay, this is interesting. I used to take everything he would say, but like, okay, I ain't gonna do that no more. Throw it away. You know what I mean? But that's the perfect example of quality content. You know what I mean? Even like your podcast, like, you want people to turn your shit on and be like, oh, I'm gonna tune into the podcast. You know what I mean? And it's just like there's gonna be so much going on at Lion's Eye, like clothing, content. It's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be a lot. I'm excited. What we have going on for sure.
for sure. And I got a couple ideas in mind, and I'm obviously we'll talk after this, but I got some ideas I want to shoot over to you. But
Hell yeah.
I would like to, you being an entrepreneur and a businessman, there are a lot of young cats out there that obviously, their dream is to own their own business, start a business, whether it's a clothing company, apparel company, whatever it may be. Like, what are some good pieces of advice or some things that like, you might change, or that now that you're kind of a veteran in this and gone through a couple years, like things that you could tell them to be like, yo, this is what I did. This is the way that you should do it. Like, where's some good
Yeah.
advice?
So I would definitely say is don't be scared to make a mistake. Don't be scared to post, because I'm gonna tell you something. If you're posting and you're getting negative feedback, guess what? They're still giving you the views. Just post. Don't worry about what others have to say. Um, and when I first started the company, like I said earlier, during the video, I was very nervous about how much I'm like the money I'm gonna lose. But any business you go into, not just clothing, you can't worry about the money. You know what I mean? The money's gonna come. The money's gonna come. You have to focus on, the quality, the people you're gonna associate with the company, the people you want to wear your stuff. Because yes, I'm the owner of Lions Eye, but who am I without my athletes? That's I say that from the bottom of my heart, bro. Like who am I without my athletes? Because you guys are on the front line. You guys are the one wearing it. You guys are the ones doing the shows. You guys are the ones doing all of that, and you guys have a following that I might not have, or the next person might not have, but definitely align align people with your company who you want to support it in the right way. You know what I mean? So I would definitely recommend that. And there's gonna be mistakes. There's gonna be, obviously, I don't want to sound too cheesy, but there's gonna be long late nights. And there's gonna be days where you might not even want to work on it for a week or two, which is fine. We all have lives. We all have other responsibilities. But as long as it's in the back of your mind, and if it keeps popping up, lingering in your mind, that means it's for you, right?
Hmm.
Goes back to what I was saying. I was doing this clothing brand off and on for 6 years, and it was in the back of my mind. I didn't really tap into the full potential, but there was a reason why I kept peeking through the blinds. You know what I mean? There's a reason why I decided to do it. I decided to do it when I was at the lowest of my lows, when I wanted to feel that love that I felt for football. You know what I mean? I have a tattoo that's on me that, says why. And I'm sure everybody know, if you play sport, I'm sure you know Eric Thomas. I'm
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
Yeah, exactly. And, what's your why? Why do you do it? Why do you do it for? You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people don't know, like, just get a little too deep, just so you guys understand, like, another big reason why I started this company is, I lost my stepdad back in 2009. Um, and every time I look back, I'm like, damn, he'll be proud of me, bro. Like, he'll be proud of the man I became. I didn't become another statistic. You know, um, I've always, where I come from, I've always had doubts about, making it to a certain age. You know what I mean? But, and this is why I do things like this and get athletes who have a story. Because I want everyone to look back and be able to say, oh shit, like, I remember I didn't, have this shit. Now I'm getting checks from the clothing brand. You know what I mean? So it's just like, just find the reason why you're doing something.
Yeah,
You know, that's the main thing.
I,
Absolutely.
I can relate to that. And I think you spoke on it a little bit ago, like the consistency portion, right? Like in investing when you might not see immediate return.
Yep. Absolutely.
Um, I have, well, like we were talking about earlier before we got on here. Like I have grand ideas for this podcast and this channel, and I've talked about it a little bit, but like I would like to do commentary for live streams for bodybuilding
Mhm.
at shows. I have some programming on here I want to do. There's a lot of collab stuff I'd like to do with Lion's Eye. So I have ideas, but to get this channel out there to more eyes, I'm doing things like sponsoring shows now.
Mhm.
So Talking Mess has a presence at shows. Um, just just a way to be amongst the people, and it costs money to sponsor, right? Like, guys, let's be honest. Like, you're not just giving a promoter $100 and like posting up at their show. You're
Absolutely.
making real investments here.
Absolutely.
Um, but those investments are viable and mean something when you believe in the product and the end goal, right? You
A-
don't worry about taking an L for the next couple months when you have a bigger picture.
Absolutely. And that's what it's all about. Like, and it only takes, obviously, the main thing is you want to believe in yourself, but it only takes one person to believe in someone. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Takes one person. Like, I'm sure you get a lot of DMs of people saying, "Oh, like asking for advice," and you telling them, you got this, you look good. I'll give you an example. Like, I know earlier we talked about what really got me into it, and now that I look back, like I would say, obviously everyone knows Justin.
Yeah,
Uh,
for sure.
this is funny. So, like, a lot of people don't know, like, Justin changed my life, bro. Like, a lot of people don't know that. I don't even think he knows that. And the reason why I say he changed my life is because I've been working with Justin um, a little after the pandemic when I got a new coach, right? I dropped out of 3 preps, due to, like, injuries and stuff I was dealing with, right? And then we finally did a show, right? Looking back, like, I've always, and I remember saying to myself, like, damn, like, this dude's really not giving up on me. He, like, he's still taking his time doing these plans, and just like, the feedback I was getting, it's just like, and I'm like, damn, he's like a second father figure to me. You know what I mean? Because where we come from, it's like it's always good to have someone give it to you raw in a way where they're not sugarcoat anything. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So he really helped me develop a discipline that I never had before. You know what I mean? Um, so that goes back to it takes one person to believe in you. And anyone who's worked with Justin knows that he's a top quality coach, but more than that, outside of coaching, he's a good person.
That's a fact.
You know what I mean? And till this day, like, he's someone I like. I just don't. It's you'd have to know Justin to know what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But he's definitely someone who I would say, definitely believed in me. And if you know Justin, he's not gonna come out and say it. Oh, I believe you. You know what I mean?
No.
Well, let me rephrase it. He'll come out and say it, but he won't say it like that just by, like, his responses are to your check-ins or whatever. I'll give you a funny story. One time, like, one of my preps, um, I, like, smoked or whatever, and I, like, binge ate, and this still sticks in my head. This is how Justin just has that fucking trait, right? I'm like, yeah, I cheated in prep. He was like, what made you cheat? I'm like, I smoked, right? And he responded back to me. He was like, well, I don't know what you want me to tell you. Get back on plan.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to say anything. I could just tell by the way he said that. I felt like, damn, I think I let him down. So after that, I never smoked again, bro.
Yeah.
I still haven't smoked till this, well, obviously because of my job, but that was probably the last time I smoked after he said something. Like, like when a parent says something, like we're grown adults, but how your mom or like your dad, they'll say something like, oh, so and so, just to keep it in your head.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. I'm like, damn, I fucking let him down. I ain't never touched weed since then, bro.
Yeah. Yo, I'll real talk for a second. Justin, for those who don't know Justin Randall, he's an NPC judge. He used to coach. He promotes the Rhode Island as well. And I just want to give him his flowers for a minute because like Shy said, the dude's selfless. He's in my mind, he is the catalyst for what is making New England bodybuilding like back to it where it was 15 years ago. Um, if you go on the Rhode Island page or Justin's page or anything, you can see how much this dude loves fitness, how much he loves the New England community, how much like and he puts everything into it. So shout outs to Justin because he's a close friend of mine too, and he's as
Absolutely.
real as it gets. And if you're
Yeah.
not coming out to Rhode Island, come out to Rhode Island because it's
Oh, it's gonna be live. It's gonna be. I will say last year at Rhode Island, so I walked into the arena, and this is before I went to your Texas Pro Show, right? I walked in, and obviously I competed, and I've been at other shows. Everything's so tiny. I walked in, I'm like, what the, what the fuck is this?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like what the fuck is this? Like this is insane. You know what I
crazy.
mean? But then when I went to your show, I'm like, oh yeah, ain't shit touching Rhode Island's. Cause that was my first pro show I went to, the one you did in Texas. And bro, it literally reminded me of
Hmm.
the fucking Rhode Island's, bro. I said to Ava, I'm like, yo, when we're at the Rhode Island's next year, I gotta come correct with this lines I shit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like this is gonna be the show that everyone wants to do to make
facts,
a name for themselves.
facts,
This is not throwing shade at any of the other shows because there's a lot of other shows that are amazing and they do a great job. But this is the show that everyone's gonna want to do. And if I could remember, there was a lot of people last year who tried. I actually think the guy who won men's physique, he came from New York or New Jersey, I think. A lot of people traveled for the show last year, and honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people pop up out the woodworks for this show.
facts. I mean, people are going to see people who will be pros at this show eventually. Like the people who come in this show, they're gonna be guys and girls that are pro ready. And for
Yeah,
those who don't know, it's connected to a casino, but I'm telling you, he has multiple screens. There's vent like it's like Shai said, it's like a pro show at the amateur level, and not just a pro show, like a top quality pro show. Like it's
hmm
crazy.
yeah,
Um, and the prizes this given out to the winners, bro. You're as winning this show as an amateur, you're making better prize packages than a lot of pros make winning pro shows.
absolutely. And a lot of the winners are getting some. I know they just added a new category for like posing, like a trophy, most like muscular or something like that.
Hmm.
Forgot what Jim's giving that out. I know they're doing that. I'm doing the Lion's Eye custom jersey.
Yeah,
That says Rhode Island's on the back. The women are getting baseball jerseys. The guys are getting football jerseys. That's that's amazing.
fact.
I forgot what other prizes are, but like
They're paying for national entries.
yeah,
I know
yeah,
Allen's giving away a year gym membership to Olympus.
absolutely. And this is stuff that like most shows you get a plastic trophy or congratulations,
Yeah,
which fuck it, I would love a trophy. You know what I mean? But this is gonna be I would say if you love bodybuilding and you're an amateur and you're always watching these shows, these Olympia shows and everything, that you're a pro, do the Rhode Islands, and I guarantee you it's gonna, even if you get your ass kicked, it's gonna motivate you to come back the next year to do better. You know what
fact.
I mean? Like that's gonna be the show for the next coming years for sure.
I agree. I agree. Man, yeah, I mean that's on a final note, anything you want to put out there to the people?
Um, all my supporters, I appreciate everyone that have supported the brand, that bought merch, even if you didn't buy merch, that support, repost, ask questions. And hey, and for the people that don't believe it, you're gonna believe soon. You know,
That's
we're
what's up.
definitely, we're definitely excited for what's to come. Um, Not even this year, within the future. You know what I mean? We're building something that's going to be unstoppable. We're building something that's going to, open eyes if your eyes aren't open yet. We're, like I say all the time, we're the new breed. We're the new breed, and we're going global, international. We're going state to state, and we're going to be everywhere. When you open up your phone on Instagram, we're gonna be the first things you see. You know what I mean? Where I'm definitely excited on where this is going. We got a great group of guys, a great group of girls on the team. Like I said earlier, everyone who gets it out the mud, and we're only gonna keep adding. We're only gonna keep getting stronger. You know, and we're not gonna slow down no time soon.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I truly believe that. I'm gonna have links in the bio down below for everything Lions Eye, Instagram, website, Shaw's personal page, Rhode Island as well. And thank y'all for listening to episode 1 with Shaw Cole, man.
Appreciate
The
it.
CEO, big boss man, Lions Eye. I appreciate y'all watching. Tune in next time.